James was about to make Emma a proposal. They had been dating for a year. Emma was 32, and James was 37. James had taken a long time to get to this point, hesitating for a while. His first marriage was so disastrous that he shuddered at the memories. He wanted children desperately. He dreamed of walking with a stroller and seeing his child take their first steps. He worked like a wolf, and by the age of 30, he already owned 2 businesses, not the biggest ones, but they were growing. They had enough for a decent life. His wife, Anna, was a beauty who spent much time in salons, and he let her go on vacations. He trusted her. But after 7 years of marriage, with no children in sight, James started to worry and suggested they go to a clinic to get checked. She refused outright. So, he went alone to check himself, figuring that if everything was okay with him, he'd insist that his wife visit a doctor. In the clinic, he ran into an old childhood friend, who was now the director and chief doctor of the facility, a clinic that helped women and men become parents. Over a glass of cognac in his friend's office, the truth came out. The divorce was brutal. She demanded money, but James had no trouble proving that she hadn't worked a single day during their marriage, and finding her lovers was even easier. James was devastated to learn that his wife had been unfaithful since their first year together. It took him a long time to recover from the betrayal, and he swore he'd never marry again. Then he met Emma. He had known her superficially when her husband was at the height of his success, while James was just starting his business. They had crossed paths a few times at parties. Emma had been a lively, energetic woman. But when he saw her again a year and a half ago, she was different, divorced, with a tired, sad look, but still beautiful. James didn't know what had happened to her, and he didn't ask. She didn't volunteer the information either. He wanted their relationship to last, but hesitated, fearing that she might have deceived her husband just like his ex-wife had deceived him. Emma sensed that James was holding back. She liked him very much, and he seemed like the best man she had ever met, but she knew she had to tell him everything. She couldn't start a new life with a lie. Yet, she couldn't bring herself to do it. James had left his wife because she had an abortion, but Emma had abandoned her own child, her tiny daughter. When she became pregnant, Igor, her husband, changed. He became rude and irritable, telling Emma that he didn't want her going out in public because she looked bloated and unattractive. He became physically abusive. Despite this, Emma thought he didn't mean it, but things escalated, and one day he violently shoved her into his car, causing her to fall on her stomach. She had pain for days afterward, but Igor acted apologetic, even bringing her tea in bed. When Emma finally gave birth, the doctors hesitated before telling her that her daughter had a deformed arm and ear. They assured her that with time and surgeries, her daughter could live a full life. Despite the deformities, Emma loved her child. But when Igor saw the baby, he coldly told her to give the child up for adoption. Under pressure from Igor and his parents, Emma, in a haze of medication and despair, signed away her parental rights. When she came to her senses, it was too late. Her daughter had already been given up, and Emma was told that the baby didn't survive the surgeries. She ended up in a psychiatric hospital for 2 months after that. Years passed, and Emma rebuilt her life as best she could, but she never stopped thinking about the child she had lost. One day, while feeding ducks with James in the park, a little girl approached them. The girl was thin, poorly dressed, but clean. James gave her some bread to feed the ducks, and Emma began chatting with her. The girl mentioned that she lived in an orphanage and had no parents. Emma noticed that the girl skillfully hid her deformed hand in her pocket. When Emma fainted upon seeing the girl's deformities, James rushed her to the hospital. Emma, upon waking, ran to the orphanage, convinced that this was her lost daughter. She confronted the director, demanding to see her child. The director confirmed that the girl was indeed Emma's daughter, and arrangements were made for Emma to take the girl home. Eventually, with James's help, they managed to begin the process of reconstructive surgeries for the girl. Emma and James also rekindled their relationship, realizing that their love and their new family could overcome any obstacle.